I know I only have myself to blame for this, but I finally did it. I finally saw Cats. I don't know who thought it would be a good idea to adapt the Broadway musical Cats to the big screen as a theatrical film, but I can only assume that the deciding element in this decision was also the deciding element in the creation of the original Broadway musical Cats, which is to say that it was cocaine. From the time that it was announced, I was already skeptical. And then once you get into the actors that were being cast in the film, I just thought to myself, why are you doing this? You've got people like Idris Elba, Sir Ian McKellen, Dame Judi Dench, and then you just also have to think about all of the stuff that someone has to do in their entire career and their life up to a certain point where obviously they get into like their 60s or 70s, and someone in England says that person should be a knight or a dame. To earn that title has to take a lot. So I can only imagine what they were thinking when they decided that they were going to sign up for this. And obviously, there were a lot of people who loved Cats back in the 80s as a theater performance, and I remember being a kid and seeing commercials for whenever the show would go on tour and be playing in your local theater and whatnot, and just thinking to myself, they're making a big deal about this. But as I got older, I realized, no, this is a bug nuts insane concept that you've come up with and managed to sustain throughout a couple of decades until someone finally put it out of its misery. So to bring this to a film and try and be earnest about it, I was just never completely sold on. And then I saw the trailer and I told myself, hey, look at that, Brain, you were right. I don't understand what's happening in this film, and I finally sat down to watch it because there's nothing else to do. I am stuck in my house like all of the rest of you, and I just said to myself, maybe this is the time for me to finally sit down and watch this film that everyone, not everyone because that's hyperbole, but most people came to the conclusion was an absolute travesty and a cinematic nightmare. And I told myself 4 months after the fact, hey, let me sit down and see what the fun is all about. Why did I do that? This film just starts in the middle as far as I'm concerned, because it just kind of plops you into the thick of the action. Cats start singing and everything, and you're just, wait, what? Is there no setup? Is there no prologue? Is there no cold open to this film? What the hell is Angelical Cat? Please, tell me what that is, because I don't think I've ever seen a film with so many incomprehensible words and names put into it. And I've watched sci-fi films my entire life, but it still doesn't prepare you as someone who was never familiar with the stage musical to watch this film and see all of these really talented performers, because you've got all of these stage performers, you have dancers, you have ballerinas, we have Francesca Howard, who is being introduced in this film. This is her coming out party for people who may not be ballet fans, and this is what you have to endure, because all of this is just kind of being thrown at you, and you're not really sure where any of it's coming from. And there's all of these different like size disparities, because obviously they're trying to show all of these performers as anthropomorphic cats, but have them be the size of actual cats. And that doesn't play at all. Like, there's so much from a conceptual standpoint that's just not working, where, okay, if you're gonna have cats as people, then what is the size of their surroundings going to be like? And sometimes you get a sense for what the scale is, and then other times they just completely threw that out of the window. And that's the sad thing about Cats, because it's coming from Oscar-winning director Tom Hooper, who did The King's Speech, a film my sister, who watched Cats with me, said was like one of her favorite movies. She loves that movie. So for her to be told that he was the director of Cats almost kind of broke her heart, and I feel that, I understand that, and to all of the people who hate on Francis Ford Coppola for directing Jack with Robin Williams, you all can shut your damn mouths from now to eternity. There's just a fundamental disconnect at almost every conceivable level as far as I'm concerned, and I was just kind of flabbergasted as I'm watching people that I respect and revere, to watch Ian McKellen as Gus the Theater Cat, and he's just doing all of these weird cat noises and mannerisms, and I think he's probably the only actor doing them to the extent that he's doing them, is just heartbreaking and demoralizing, and to see him go through that is just sad. And then you've got Dame Judi Dench as Old Deuteronomy, and they have a very long song to introduce this character. That's the other thing. You really want these songs to end. Like, you're waiting for all of those breaks in the songs where people actually speak in actual words, as opposed to just singing all of their dialogue, because that is roughly about 95% of this film. And then you have people like, you know, Jason Derulo, who's in there as Rum Tug Tugger, and he's absolutely terrible. Like, the singing is terrible, the dancing isn't all that great either. Who are the people representing these talents? Because I feel like just off of the fact that someone's coming to you with a project saying, hey, we're going to adapt the Broadway musical Cats to the big screen, someone should be there to be like, I don't know if this is going to work. And it seems like in a lot of cases, no one was there to say, I don't think this is going to work. And then you also have Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson, who in her first film role, her first acting role, won a goddamn Oscar for Dreamgirls. To have to do this, and to have just the thankless role of Grisabella, who is just the sad panda of Cats if the characters were pandas instead of cats. She just goes through the movie skulking around and just having just the saddest look on her face, and you're just wondering, what is her backstory? And you see how the other cats treat her, and you never really get much of a indication of what she did to draw so much ire for them. It's absolutely just shame and resentment and malcontent attitude from her, and just this look of despair on her face as if she's just waiting for someone to kill her. That's how Jennifer Hudson looks throughout this entire movie. And then you also have to take into effect that the visual effects in this film are some of the spottiest visual effects I have ever seen in a high-budget, mainstream blockbuster film. Yes, sometimes the fur looks nice and everything. Other times you've just got this whole floaty face thing happening, especially with the dancers, because sometimes their movements are too quick to keep up with the rendering of the CG elements in the film. So yeah, you just have that sort of odd disconnect happening. And then you have other people like James Corden and Rebel Wilson who, oh god, it's such a mess. Like, just to have all of these weird elements, because Rebel Wilson, they have this whole sequence involving cockroaches with human faces that dance and march in like a chorus line, and Rebel Wilson proceeds to eat whichever one she picks up. And that's just insane. Why is this even in this film? And God damn Idris Elba. Damn it, Idris. Damn it. Idris Elba as McCavity. I have never felt more like regret and sadness for this man. This man has COVID. Like, that's how bad I feel. It's just, again, why did you take this role? What did you think would happen as far as advancing your career that you thought being in Cats was a smart play? Like, I watched The Take earlier this week where Idris Elba has a very terrible song that he performs at the end of that film. It's in the end credits. And after watching Cats, I now feel like that song should win a Grammy, because that just gives you an idea of how terrible it is to see my man Idris in this goddamn film. And I don't think I will ever wash away the memory of him whispering his name as he disappears into a cloud of glitter and pixie dust. It's going to haunt my dreams. It's going to invade my subconscious at the most inopportune times, and I'm frightened. And all of this is just to say that at a certain point, you have to kind of look back at what Ian Malcolm was saying in the first Jurassic Park, where you have to paraphrase it and just say, you know, movie studios think so much about whether they could, they didn't stop to think about whether they should. And that's Cats in a nutshell. It is a film that is needlessly bizarre, and not in a fun way. It's something that you will, if you watch it in its entirety, you're not getting that time back. You're not getting that peace of mind back. There's so much here that is incomprehensible and bizarre. It's like Lovecraft, where the protagonists in most of those stories see something unbelievable and go insane from having witnessed it. This is what we're dealing with when it comes to Cats. It is the mouth of madness. It is the abyss that you look into, and then you get surprised when it stares back, when you see, like, you look into the blackness and you see, like, these cat eyes open up and look back at you, and you're like, what the hell? No, that's what Cat is. It is nightmare fuel from concentrate. This is the thing that can shatter someone's fragile psyche. This is like if you have anything with flashing lights in it and you have to have a warning for epileptics at the beginning. Where was that disclaimer for Cats at the beginning of it? Because I needed it. I was talking to my sister about it before we watched it, where I said to myself, oh, I'm gonna be fine. I don't know about you. And now it's a day later and I'm just thinking to myself, oh crap, I'm the one who's not gonna be all right again, aren't I? This is... I just had to get this out there because I know a lot of people probably have the same sentiments that I do, and I know I have people who watched it while under the influence and they had a blast with it and were able to get their thoughts on it publicized and everything, like a lot of other people. But for me, what did I do to myself? Hey guys, thanks for watching as always. If you've got your own thoughts or opinions on Cats that you'd like to share, if you were unfortunate enough to witness it for yourself, please go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this video with your friends and family, and if you'd like to keep up to date on more At Random videos, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button right over here.